Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys doing good today. It's another beautiful day. Let's go Facebook. Hey, all right. Look at that. And we're good. Cool. All right, it's working. All right. All right, yeah, happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday the 15th. Let's just say that we're halfway through July, which is crazy. This year is just cruising by, and unfortunately, not a whole lot's open to like regular capacity. So, all right. So today, I want to talk a little bit about motivation. We've talked about other parts of motivation in the past, but we've talked about extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And just to recap on that, extrinsic, external, intrinsic motivation is going to come from within. So that, when they say the fire down within you, intrinsic motivation, down in your core. Extrinsic is I'm doing this for, a medal. I'm doing this for public recognition. I'm doing this for something outside of you, something. And that's not necessarily, something externally, let's keep it very complicated. That's not necessarily a bad thing. There are times when extrinsic motivation can be more detrimental, like if that's your sole purpose. So this all started because I was having a conversation yesterday with someone, and it came up that they're like, well, sometimes I'm trying to, make sure that I'm doing things to keep my significant other happy. And I'm like, that's weird. Like in a sense, like if you're working out and you're staying on your nutrition plan to make someone else happy or to make someone else proud, then you're definitely doing it for some of the wrong reasons. Like obviously there's so many good reasons why you should be doing that, but there's a lot of bad reasons that maybe you should look at that situation a little bit differently, because with any of that stuff, you should be exercising for you. You should be eating well for you and for your kids to ensure that you have health and longevity. Not, I want to make my husband proud, or I want to make my cousin proud because they're, they put my exercise routine together. So I want to make sure that I do the work so that they're proud of the work I've done. No, you should be proud of the work you've done because you did the work. And I think a lot of times from that extrinsic side, people do get kind of lost in the cloudiness of like the reasons behind why they're doing it. And it changes your outcome. And I'm going to talk about Ironman again because it's one of those things that there's like mentally, there's a lot that goes on to be able to complete an Ironman. Physically, it's demanding. Mentally, it's even more demanding. And when we look at Ironman, for example, it's one of these things where everybody, all about making the coach happy. Yes. If that was the case, Deborah, I would be a very unhappy human being. I'm not saying it's you. Where's Matthew anyway? He's late. Probably sleeping in today. Yeah, it's all about making the coach happy. I wish I'd have some of the best athletes in the world because they'd be fitter than a fiddle. But with Ironman, it's one of these things that's very mental. And the reason for that is, one, it's a long day, but two, you're training for 12 months minimum. This year, all of my athletes are now training for 2 years. Because Ironman Lake Placid got canceled, and all of them were doing Placid, and another one was going to do Tremblant. So they're now on a 2-year plan, which again, automatically, as soon as that race is canceled, their brain shuts off. Like they're checked out. They need a break. And I agree 100%. They need a break because the workouts are the hardest part of the whole thing. It's kind of, Ironman to me is kind of like a wedding. Good morning, mommy. Ironman to me is like a wedding in that a bride stresses so much about all of the details leading up to the wedding, and then the day comes and it's over before they even realize all of those details, whether or not they've been done or haven't. Ironman goes very quickly, and you spend so much time, again, 12 months minimum, usually, thinking about it and training for it, and thinking about certain aspects of the race, whether it's, you know, the swim, whether it's transition, how am I going to do this? What am I going to eat for race morning? Like how many times can I get up to training camp? How many 100-mile bike rides can I do? How far do I have to run? What should my swim pace be? When should I get my first outdoor swim? How many times should I swim 2.4 miles before the race? How many times, like how far, how many hours should I run for my longest run? Like there's so many little things. What should I eat on the run? What should I drink on the run? What should I eat and drink on the bike? Obviously, you can't eat and drink in the water. I mean, you can drink because you drink to the lake, but what should I have in my special needs bags? Like there's so many things, and you legitimately spend 12 months thinking about that. And then the day comes and it's like, okay, oh, and what's the weather going to be? The weather in the past, if we take Lake Placid, for example, I've raced it and it's been literally one half of the course was a torrential downpour. What year was that? So what year is this? 2018. Half of the course was a torrential downpour and like 45-mile-an-hour winds, maybe 30-mile-an-hour winds. In 2015, it was 89 and not a cloud in the sky. In 2014, they actually canceled half the swim because there was literally like thunder and lightning. But then come time for everybody to get off the bike and get onto the run, and like people were literally getting hypothermia on the descent because it was like 50 degrees. But by the afternoon, it was like 85 and sunny. So, these are all things that like you have to take that inventory and you have to think about all of that stuff and still maintain that motivation. So then what is your motivation to do, especially if you've done an Ironman? It's different. There's no feeling like your first Ironman. And then when you come back and have to do it again, like you already know what the suck is of the day. It's the run. And like when you get there, like how you're going to feel because you were there the year before, a couple of years before that, whatever. So where do you find that motivation? How do you maintain that motivation of, I know how this is going to hurt. I know how much the training is going to suck. I know the unpredictability of all of these other variables. How do I keep going? Is it because I want to be a 2-time Ironman? Is it because I want to be a 20-time Ironman? Is it because I want a PR? Is it because I love a good challenge? And again, I think that it's harder to do races like Ironman after the first one, because the first one, like you're almost naive in everything. You're going to follow your coach's plan because you put your trust in your coach and they're going to get you to the finish line. And then that second time you're like, all right, now I've gotten to the finish line. I want to do a little bit better. But remember that swim workout I missed? Yeah, I can miss that one again. That one kind of sucked. I didn't like it anyway. And it didn't affect me on race day. Or did it? You don't know. So, those are the things that, how do you find that motivation after you've already accomplished a very similar goal? And again, I will always say like a second Ironman or second milestones hit are never as big as that first one. If you're in the nutrition space and you lose 25 pounds, that next 25 pounds, you're like, all right, I've already done, and let's say that you gain some of it back and then you lose it again. It doesn't carry that same meaning as that first time around. Professionally, when you get that raise, or you get that, promotion, and now you look and you're like, all right, I've accomplished this. And then a couple of years later, it's like, all right, I kind of slide into the next layer, and you kind of expect it. And you kind of, it's not that you get complacent, but it definitely doesn't have that same zing that the first one did, because that first one was like a big step. And then the next step is a little bit smaller. And then the next step's a little bit smaller. So how do you keep that motivation? And that's a question that I don't know how you can ever answer, other than that's where it becomes more intrinsic than extrinsic. Like, that's where it has to come from deep within. Because the extrinsic, that first time around, you get the medal at Ironman, you get the medal, you get the t-shirt, you get now the backpacks are getting shittier and shittier, but you get the shittier backpack. I think they still give you a hat. They give you the crappiest hat on the planet. Like, seriously, you can buy a $50 hat from them, or you can wear the horrible hat that they give you that no one really likes, but they want to wear because they feel like they paid $800 for this crappy hat. So you get the medal, the t-shirt, the bag, the crappy hat, and then, you get the opportunity to go out and, prove that you can execute on all of that training. And then the next time around, it's like you get the same stuff, but you've already got the medal, you've already got a hat, you've already got a bag. So now it has to come from within. Like, now I want to do this for me, and I want to do it a little bit better, or I want to do this to show my kids, like, this is what this is the culmination of all of daddy or mommy's hard work, right? Like, that's where it's going to come from within. And that's where you really want the motivation to come from 99% of the time. It's cool when you get all of that other stuff, but think of those as like bonus. Those are the bonus things that you get. Like this Cranberry Lake 50 miler that I've got a few people that I coach that are doing it, and a few other friends that are doing it. There's no accolades for doing the race, but it's a challenge. It's testing yourself. There's no accolades for finishing. There's no medal. There's no t-shirt. There's no runner sign up thing where you can see your results. You just go out and you do it. And that's the spirit of true motivation, is to do it because you truly want to challenge yourself and you truly want to do it. So as July 15th is now upon us, and some of you are sitting there saying, like, I got to get my shit together. Well, take a step back and look and see what are those driving, what are the forces that you want driving you forward? Like, why do you want to go forward? Why do you want to change your nutrition, change your job, push yourself to get that promotion, push yourself to get through that race? Like those, but don't think of like, oh, well, because I get a really cool medal. If you want a medal, I've got a basement full of them you can fight the kids for. And Joanne and I will both say the coolest medal ever gotten is from the Ottawa Marathon. If you did the Lumberjack Challenge, they gave you a huge medal that looks like an axe. Only if you completed the challenge. So you had to do the 2K, 5K, 10K, and marathon. In that, like, basically 14 hours, which was pretty much fun. I would do that again. Maybe we'll do that next year. But that is the coolest medal ever, because it's a giant axe, and Jerry will never give that to anyone. So think about why you truly want to do this stuff before just signing up for it. Because if you're signing up, whether it's nutrition, whether it's races, whether it's a job, because you think that it's going to look good for the gram or look good for Facebook or look good for whatever, you're doing it for 100% the wrong reasons. So think about that a little bit today. as you enjoy these bluebird skies, it's 8:16, so I'm going to get ready for some awesome people to come in today. Got a whole day slated full of greatness in my office. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, make sure you're moving, make sure you're staying active, make sure you're social distancing, because apparently COVID's not going anywhere. And I will see you guys, tomorrow's Thursday, so I will see you guys tomorrow.